Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat with Gina K. I am Gina, and I am so excited to be here with all of you tonight. I want to welcome everyone here in the USA and from all over the world. I've been looking along the side there, watching all of you. We have people from just about every part of the world here tonight, and I'm really excited to have you here joining me. I have something really fun planned for you tonight. It's a technique that I had never tried before, and I thought about doing it live for the first time, but I got home just a little bit early and I just ran through it just to make sure it would really work, because if it didn't work, then I'd have nothing. So tonight we're going to do a really fun wax paper technique. Now, I know a lot of you were hoping that Tom was going to be able to sing for you tonight, but that is not going to happen tonight, and here's why. So it has been raining cats and dogs here for the last couple of days, and today it is really raining. I mean, like, I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it hitting my window. It's pretty bad. I'm really hoping the internet just sticks with me for the error. And so Tom said that water started pouring into our ink pad room. Now, luckily, all of our ink pads are up on shelves, so we don't have to worry about any damage to the products. But he said if he didn't stay and have somebody come and fix it, that we would be in a heap of trouble in the morning, that we would actually probably be canoeing around our aisles. So that's not a good thing. So he's over there waiting for somebody to come. He's got his mask, he's got his gloves. He's hoping that whoever comes is also going to have mask and gloves, and they're going to be able to fix the problem. So unfortunately, he's not going to be able to be here tonight. And that kind of brings me to tonight's topic. So let me put this up on the board. Tonight's topic is control. And you know, the best laid plans, right? You don't have as much control as you think. You really don't. So my opening statement tonight, this. Let me pull the comments back up here. The only thing that you can control is yourself. You can't control how other people receive your energy, because anything you do or anything that you say gets filtered through their lens of whatever stuff they're going through. And things that anger you control you. If you allow other people's words to control you, then you allow everybody to control you. So then you just keep suffering. You have to be selective in your battles. Ask yourself if it's worth it, and if it's more important to be right or more important to be happy. There are only two things that really matter. There are the things that matter and the things you can control. And the things that matter, you can't always control, and the things you can control don't always really matter. What you have to find is that point where the things that matter meet the things that you control, and just focus on that small place where things matter and you're in control. And that's the way to have a happier life. So I'm so excited to get started stamping with you. I do have an ending quote tonight. I sure hope that you like. And let me show you what we're going to do. Okay. So probably most of you have something very similar to this, right? This is just the cut right wax paper. Any brand of wax paper will work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear off some wax paper, and I try not to crinkle it too much when I tear it off, but it doesn't always work. And I already cut a couple of extra pieces here, so you can see they're not too wrinkled. Now you can crinkle them up. You can actually take it in your hand and ball it all up and then spread it out and do this technique, and you'll get a really cool kind of animal print look. But we're going to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to pull the overhead camera on, and here's my wax paper. Now I have an iron here. This is just my regular old household iron. I do not iron any clothing at all, so I don't even know why I have an iron. In fact, when I decided to do this technique, I had to look for quite a while to even find iron. But let me see here. I am going to just quickly plug this in down here on the floor, and I'm going to turn the iron on. And I have it set pretty hot. I have it all the way up, and I'm going to be using the iron in tonight's technique. Now I'm just going to keep this split screen up here for a minute because I'm going to be using my die cutting machine for this technique. So I'm using my Spellbinders Platinum die cutting machine. You can use any die cutting machine for this. The only thing is I don't know the sandwich for every single machine. So I'm going to do the sandwich for the Spellbinders Platinum. Basically, what you want to do is use whatever sandwich would normally work with maybe an embossing folder die, and you're going to just emboss the die like one of the Spellbinders dies. You're not going to actually cut it out. And that will most of the time require, well, it always requires, some kind of rubber mat. So I think most of you have a rubber mat like this, and you've probably done some embossing this way in the past. So let me just open this die cutting machine, and then I will show you. Now for the Spellbinders Platinum machine, the sandwich is just the basic pad. That's the big pad that comes with it, the big white pad. And then I'm going to lay this rubber mat on top. Then I am going to, let me move this out of the way here. Then I am going to use a stencil. So this is the rounded swirl Gina K design stencil. This will work with any stencil that you have. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your stencil on there, and then you're going to put a piece of wax paper right on top. And then you're going to put, in this case, it's a blue plate, but other die cutting machines use a different plate. So just, you can always find a video for your machine, and they'll be able to teach you exactly what sandwich you need. And it's in the instructions in my machine. So if you have your instruction booklet, you should be able to do this. And I'm going to take this sandwich and I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine. All right. Let's see if I got that right. We'll see what happens here. Okay. So now you can see, I think you can see that. Do you see the pattern is now in the piece of wax paper? All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually do another one of these while I have the machine all set up here. So I'm gonna do, because I want to see what a couple of these look like. I'm also going to do this one. This is the Elegant Lace Stencil, and I'm gonna do this one next. So I have another piece of wax paper here. I did put a crease in it, so we'll see what that does. But I'm not real worried about that because they do get kind of smushy when you use them. So I'm going to try doing the stencil on top of the wax paper this time. So the wax paper is on the mat and then the stencil is on top. Let me see if I get more pressure this way. Oh yeah, I feel more pressure. I think I'm going to do that first one over again. So let me get this out of here. Now you're going to be able to see this. You see how it's all smushed in there? All right, so let's do another one like that with that first stencil. So I'm going to just put that aside, and I'm going to get another piece of wax paper, and then I'm just going to trim it down. And you can trim it down with your paper cutter, or you can trim it down with a pair of scissors. It cuts pretty easily. Do you guys ever do your wrapping paper like that? You get a good spot on the scissors and you can just push it. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to try that again. Let's see here. Wax paper down first, and then the stencil on top, and then my blue plate. I know this is going to give me much more pressure this way. Okay. Yeah, I can feel it and I can hear it going through. It sounds crunchy when it goes through. So you can see it's definitely different. Look at the difference between the first one that I did, which is here. You can just lightly see the image. And then, let me go full screen. So you can just lightly see the image on that first one. And then this one. I mean, it's really, really poofy. So that's what you want. You want it to be more poofy. So try the different sandwiches and see how you can get it to look like this. All right, so now my next step is going to be, and if you don't have stencils or you don't want to do this with stencils, you can also put the piece of waxed paper in between an embossing folder, and that works really well too. All right, so I'm going to take 2 pieces of the Gina K Designs layering weight white cardstock. Now, you can use whatever kind of cardstock you want. I like our layering weight cardstock because I really feel like it's super smooth and easy to blend ink. So I'm laying the wax paper on top, and then I am going to put the other piece of cardstock right on top of that. And then I'm going to go in with my iron. Now, you can add something on top of this if you want. It's totally up to you. But I'm just going to go ahead and iron it. Sorry if my hand is in the way. Wow, that's really in the way. And yes, I am probably getting wax all over my iron. But my iron is a Teflon iron, and I can just wipe it off. If you don't have that, you can put a piece of cardstock on top, so this way it won't touch the wax paper. And like I said, I don't really iron, so you probably see that in my clothes. But I just kind of wear clothes that you just wash and wear. So I know you guys can't see anything on there, but I can actually see it. It almost looks like if you did a little Versamark on there. It's got that little bit of shine. So I'm going to put these 2 aside. And then I'm going to try this one too, because I want to see what this one looks like. So I've got 2 more pieces of cardstock here, and they're going to look different. One side's going to look very different from the other, because one side you're going to get the actual design, and the other side you're going to get the reverse of the design. So I recommend doing the 2 pieces back to back like this, and then, playing with both of them and seeing which one actually gives you the look you want. I just had to put my face on here because my hand is so close to this camera. It's terrible. So I'm just ironing that. Okay. And then I'm going to pull that off. So I see design on here. I think I'm going to like this side from what I can see. But we're going to try them both. Okay, now you can see I've got a little bit of the impression of wax here on my mat. And I just have, you know what this is? This is shelf liner. It's kind of spongy. It's got like a sponge on the back, and it's kind of spongy. And that's what I've been using to work on. Not because it's a great mat, because I kind of like the color. All right, so let's try this one first. So I'm going to use couple of, let me turn my iron off first here, because I've got cords draped around and I know I'm going to set something on fire, and I don't have Tom here to help me. So I'm going to try some sea glass and some jelly bean, and then if that's not dark enough, I'm going to darken it up with Turquoise Sea and Lucky Clover. So I just have them all sitting here. And let's see, I'm going to start with some sea glass. And I'm going to use a blending brush for this. Now, if you don't have blending brushes and you still want to do this technique, you can just rub your ink pad right over it. It will work. All right, so now I'm going to just add some color. Oh, can you see that? This really looks like batik batik fabric. If you've ever seen that batik look, I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, somebody correct me. But what's so cool about it is the stencil doesn't look like this at all. I mean, look at the stencil. It's such a clean, plain stencil, but look how cool that looks. Oh, I love this. It's such a fun background. You can just iron a whole bunch of them and then just play with different colors and see what happens. I don't even know how I'm going to finish these cards, but I don't think it's that big of a deal because the pattern itself is so beautiful. You don't want to do too much to it. All right, so I'm going to leave the sea glass there, and I'm going to go in with some jelly bean green, and I'm going to add that color in there. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to have to blend in between those a little bit more to make that more of a subtle blend. But isn't that pretty? So much fun. So, like I said, you can do this with embossing folders too, where you use the embossing folder on the wax paper first, but it's just such a fun other use for your stencils. I mean, I don't know why I've never tried this before, but I really wanted it to work. It did. Yay. Okay, so you can see now I'm going in between those areas where the green and the blue meet and trying to make more of a blue-green in there so I get a more subtle fade. And it also just gives me like a third color in there. Yeah, this is nice. This is fun. Sounds like this. You can cut them up and make strips and borders and banners. You can also use these in your scrapbook pages. These are great mats for behind photos, but wow, you don't need a whole lot. Just a word, a greeting, maybe just a die cut piece with a word on it. Okay, so I am going to take a piece of paper towel here, and I'm just going to rub over it because it is wax. I mean, it's resisting the ink, and I don't want any to be kind of in a place where I don't want it to like rub off. Okay, so I'm going to cut this down. But before I do that, let's see what the opposite one looked like. I think this is the one. Let me look real well in the light here. This is the other design. So I think this is the one. Let's try this one and just see what the negative looks like, because I think it's going to look a lot different. It might not be as defined. So let's give it a try. Ooh, it's even more. That's cool. So that's what the opposite of this one looks like. Oh, I should do different colors on this one. I feel like I should do some purple or something with it. Should I do a purple? I'm going to get a purple. I think I'm going to get, let me try a little wild wisteria with this, because this is just so vibrant. And I can always go darker on the blue if I need to. So, of course, I grabbed a brush that had yellow on it, and I don't want to do that because yellow and purple make brown. So I found another one. Okay. A little wild wisteria. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, yeah. Isn't that a pretty color? Such a fun technique. So I hope you guys have some stencils that you want to try this with. And like I said, if you don't, you can always use embossing folders. But I just love to take products like my stencils and then just find some other completely wild use for it. Oh, I love this. Now that looks, so you can see how the color is resisting in the detail on this one, and just the edges are showing in this one. So you can see it's two completely different looks, but they're both super cool. All right, a little more purple in here. And then we'll go back over it. Maybe I'll do a little turquoise sea. I think oh, this is turquoise sea. All right, I can go a little darker then with that, just to blend it a little better. You see me almost put that right in the wild wisteria? Okay, I should just take a picture of all of these before I do anything to them. But I am going to at least make one card out of one of them tonight. Probably more. All right, so that is the swirl. And that stencil is just the rounded swirl stencil. But because the wax paper is so crinkly, you just get such a really cool look from it. All right, let's try the lace now. We'll go with some completely different colors on this one. So let me move these out of the way. All right, I think I've got to go with like Dusty Rose, some kind of pinkish tone on this one. I really should look here and see if you guys have any questions or anything else. Yes, both sides of the, yeah, if you guys see any spam, I think anybody can delete it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think any of you guys can delete those comments. So I don't know, somebody said TJ Maxx was in here spamming or some sort of spam like that. It's probably not TJ Maxx, so don't come at me, TJ. But somebody was spamming. All right, so I'm going to try some Dusty Rose on this one, and I'm going to start in the middle. Okay, that's cool. That is so cool. Look at that. And that, you know, that stencil is also a pretty clean stencil. I mean, it's got some fine lines in there. Renee asked, can you use the wax paper more than once? You know, that's a really good question, and I'm not 100% sure. I have not tried that, but I'm thinking that once you melt the most of the wax off, it might not be as, you know, as detailed, I should say, but I never say no. I would just say, let's just try it, you know, and if you do happen to try it, please, please, please share your results over in our Facebook group and let us know what you did. Okay, I'm going to use some Peach Bellini on here. I like the peach. Look at that blob. We can always cut that off. Maybe not. Maybe we won't need to. I can blend it. Well, I have to cut these down anyway. So this is interesting because it looks like parts of it are much more detailed than other parts, which really makes it look very much like a true batik kind of pattern. I want to see what the other side of them looks like. I feel like that's going to look really cool. Even that, look at all that detail you get up there. These are so pretty. I'm so glad that it worked. When I tried it this afternoon, I was so pumped up and so sure it was going to work, and then I started panicking, and I thought, I better not try that live. I better just make sure it works. So I'm going to go back and add some more of the Dusty Rose. Blend some of that into the peach. Oh, yeah. So I probably could have ironed more up here. So if you get something like that, maybe iron a little bit more onto that area the next time you make it. All right, so there's that one. That almost looks kind of like a mandala a little bit too. I like it. All right, we're going to do one more and see what the other side of this stencil looks like. Let me wipe that off. And then, well, I want to do a different color combination, but I don't know. Ooh, I know what I'll do. Okay, so for this one, oh, I dropped it. Hold on. The other thing is, if you aren't sure what side, and honestly, I cannot tell on this, so I'm just going to start blending. And if nothing happens, then I'll know I'm on the wrong side. I'm going to use some wild dandelion. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Can you guys see that? Let's see if I can get that a little closer. I don't know if that's showing up real well, but it looks pretty cool. I'm going to try kind of a little rainbowy thing here. Not really a rainbow, but a little bit of a fade. This is sweet mango. Ooh, that's pretty. This is bright and sunny, this one. What am I going to put in the middle? Should I be so bold as to put like a red in the middle there? I'm going to do it. All right, I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to use Red Hot because Red Hot is a little bit different than our, let me see if I can find a brush to use for this. I think I'll use this brush. Our Red Hot is a little bit more of an orangey tone red than the Red Velvet. The Red Velvet is a super true red. So I'm going to use just a little of this and we'll see what this looks like. Ooh. Oh yeah. That's pretty cool. This does have some purple on it, so I might be getting a little bit of a pink tone in there, but you can see a little bit more on the edge here. So I'll go through there and then I'll come back in with a little bit more orange. The sweet mango again. And we'll soften up that red. I don't know which side of this pattern I like better, but I think I like this side better. It's got more detail. But, you know, it makes sense to try it both ways because all it costs you is a piece of a little square or a little rectangle of cardstock, and you just don't know which one is going to look the best. Let's get some more yellow in there, and then we'll go over that again with a little more orange. Oh, that's fun. I might just soften the edges a little, but I am going to trim this down, so. Okay. So what do you guys think of that? Isn't that fun? And I'm really glad too, because now I have a purpose for my iron. I used to iron. When Tom was a lawyer, I would iron his shirts. Now I don't iron his shirts at all, and he's a wrinkled mess. That's my fault. I just take the clothes out. I leave them in the dryer. They kind of get all, you know, crunched up in there, and then I just throw them on a hanger, and he's not a wrinkled mess, but you know what I'm saying. It's not like I used to iron his shirts for his real job, not his real job, his office job. Oh my gosh, he's watching. I'm sure he's watching from over there while the water's flooding in. Hi, Tom, if you're watching. Okay, so I think I like this one the best out of these two for sure. And I think it's just because I really like this color combination. It's really bright, and it's not my usual kind of colors that I use. You know me, I'm always with the cool tones. I absolutely like both of these. I really love them both, but I think I'm going to go with this one. And if I have time, then I'll make something with that one. So this one is going to be put aside for now. And then I'm going to trim these down. And then, of course, I'm going to mount them on black. Now, I need to get a tidy towel because I actually have a lot of ink on my hands from that. That was kind of inky. All right. So I'm going to trim this down. And I'm going to trim this down to 3.5. So I'm going to just do like, it was at 3.25. What I'm actually doing is I'm just cutting the edges off so it's a little bit more finished. So I made sure this piece was a little bigger to start. And also I wanted to make sure if I didn't get ironed all the way to the edges that I could cut off anything that didn't look good. So I'm taking this down to 3.5 by 4.75 of an inch. And that just kind of finishes it all off. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. And you see how kind of like it's just dark along the edge there. I mean, it's pretty, but it'll look a little bit more finished if I just trim those edges off. So this is going to 3.5. And then it's going down to 4.75. So I'm just cutting 1/8 inches off all the way around. I should talk about clothes. I think I wore my pajamas to work the last couple of days. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And then I know some of you were asking about Teddy, and Teddy is still doing well. She's hanging in there and Still eating really well. Our little dog, for those of you who don't know, our little dog Teddy has a tumor on her tongue, but she seems to be doing pretty well. All right, those are the 3 finished ones. Yes, I see Tom is there. Let's, hi Tom, how are you? Oh my goodness, I love it. I'm just gonna leave that comment up there and you are not a wrinkled mess, hun. You look great. Every single day, you look great. You're not a wrinkled mess. Oh, well. Okay, so now it's time to turn these into cards. All right, so I'm gonna put this aside. Well, maybe not. Let me see if I have some black pieces cut. Oh, I do. Okay, so there's a black piece that will work. A couple others here. Yay for Teddy. Yes, she's doing good. You know, I always kind of watch to see the way she eats, and she still really loves to eat. So that's such a good sign. She's an old girl. All right, and there is, yep, okay, so I'm gonna mount these. What a mess this is. Oh, there's from my wreath builder the other night. I'm gonna mount these. I really need a new mat, and I just have to go get some more shelf liner. I can probably order some because I don't want to go into a store right now, but I like the gray because it didn't glare. I was having some trouble with some of the mats that I was using glaring in the with the lights overhead, and this shelf liner stuff, it doesn't glare at all. All right, so I don't know if that made any difference at all, but there's one. All right, and then I grabbed my little box of things. You know, the box of things, the random pieces. I thought I could maybe find a couple little random pieces or words to put on here. So there's 2. Let me just go full overhead. Tom, they said you came to sing. Actually, I think he just came to say, what? All right. Oh, okay. This is a great opportunity for me to show you how easy it is to change the cartridge on the Gina K Designs tape runner. So I have 1 refill left, and it's got a little thing down here that says push. So you just push there and it'll open. And then you can pull out the old one. And then the new one, I have struggled with certain tape runners, especially the bigger ones where you have to, I feel like it's like threading a sewing machine. And this is so easy. So I just pulled that right out of the pack, and you just drop it in and close it. And it's ready to go. Can't get easier than that, right? Okay, and then I'm going to, a little bent corner there, this one right on there. Okay. Now these are cool, but wait till you see them up against a white card base. You know they're going to look good on a white card base. Let me find, I always have a bunch of white card bases laying around. So let's start with this one. Isn't that nice? I love these patterns. You could make a really big one and it would almost be a pretty piece of wall art. But you'd have to really crunch a bunch of wax paper through and then iron it randomly. Okay, so there's my first card base. Is that even? That's not even. That is not even at all. I'm gonna move that. I have to look straight down on it, so if it's not in the camera here, I will move it. There we go. That's one thing I do love about this tape runner too. It's forgiving. So if you don't get it straight right away, you can lift it up and you can move it around, and then you can go back and you can, press it down. And once it sits for a little bit, then it becomes permanent. So here's another card base. I'm going to put the blue one on here. Oh, this one is just spectacular. I really like this color combination. That's Wild Wisteria and Turquoise Sea. All right, we'll put that one on there. And then this one, we could do on a turned card base. We could do one like this, like that. Sometimes you just make things like this and you're like, okay, that's done. That's good enough. That's just a pretty note card. We got to do something more to it. So those are the 3 looks. Now let me get my little thing. So I went through and I dug through a bunch of the little things that I have made. And I also have some other things that I didn't even cut out yet. There's actually some flowers on there that could be created to match these background panels. But let's see what we have. So for this one, wonder if the peach would work on that. So I'm thinking that we definitely need some kind of word or some kind of thing on here. I hate to block too much of it up. You know, just maybe have like a single word, maybe a butterfly or something. Maybe a word up here and then a butterfly down here. Do you guys like that look? What do you think of that? Just a plain black and white butterfly? Yeah, the black butterfly. Okay, so we'll do something like that. We could even do that in the center. It could be a centerpiece. Well, let's just look at that for a second, and then let's try it with an oval too, because I do have an oval here, and I just want to see. I know it hides more of the batik, but we could put the butterfly on there. What do you guys think of that? Does that hide too much? I'm looking to see your comments. Okay, the butterfly above the circle? I could try that. Let's try that. Okay, we'll put the circle down and then put the butterfly on top of it. Well, I like that too. I think I like the butterfly below the circle the best out of all of the things we talked about. I think I like this kind of look. So let's make that one first. Now, before I do that, this could be a side fold card too, so it really doesn't matter. But I want to see it on here. It looks pretty on here too, doesn't it? And it looks pretty. I know it's going to look pretty on here. But I definitely think since we started with the orange one, we should do it with this orange one. Okay, so let's find a greeting for this. I think I'm going to use the All About You stamp set. The world is a better place because of you. I'm going to use that greeting. So I'm going to grab my Misty here. Look at all these other things I have. I have so many things for us to go through. And you know, that's what I do when I don't know what to do. I just make elements. I make little pieces, bits and pieces of things. And it's a really, really good thing to do, because then when you're making cards like this and you really don't want to focus on that, you want to have more fun with the background techniques. I definitely think that, you know, making those ahead of time is great. It's a great mojo starter for sure. All right, the world is a better place because of you. So we'll put that there. And let me get some black Onyx ink. Okay. Oh boy, I have everything everywhere, which is the huge around here. Okay, I did not realize that my camera mount was so magnetic. Did you hear that sound? That was the magnet jumping onto it. Okay, I'm going to get my sleeve. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so let me get my tidy towel back out again so I can clean this stamp and be a good stamping person. Clean it up. And then, actually just wiped my hands on my pants. Always wear black pants, then you never have to worry about the ink showing. My My bit of advice. Forget the control speech. Wear black pants. That's the best advice for the night. Okay, I'm going to put that together. And then that'll go right there. And we'll find that black butterfly again. And I could even pop that up a little bit. I don't think coloring that butterfly is necessary at all. I think the black and white elements of both the greeting and the butterfly just really make it very striking. So let's do that. Could even move it up a little bit. All right, so I will tape this down first. Right here. I'm not going to press it all the way down yet until I make sure that I like where it is. Just going to tap it. And then this will go right here. Yes. Okay. I'm going to tape this butterfly right onto it. I don't think it needs to be popped up. It'll be popped up enough by leaning up against that circle. It's really hard to see around the camera. Okay, so there's my first card. Nice and simple. And the whole, it's the background, I think, that really, really makes it. Yeah, the tidy towel is definitely damp. I use the tidy towel with water and I wring it out, but it's damp. And if it dries, it will dry like as hard as a corn chip. But that's okay. You can just throw it into a little bit of warm water and it reactivates. Okay, so there's my first card. Now let's see what we can do with this card. I like this one too. Well, I do have this flower. I do like that flower. And I have a bunch of different leaves cut out. None of them match, but maybe we could make these work. Like we could trim these down. Do you like those together? I definitely think we'll do an oval for this one. And we will, let me layer this together first. And I'm thinking that if we put the flower here, and I can trim this. See, if you have something like this, you can trim it. And then you have two. I'll just trim that little point off there. I can make that work as two separate leaves rather than just waste it and have it all hidden under there. So I could put like this here, and then I can have this cascading down from under it, like that. And then I could put a greeting up there. So I think that would be very lovely. What do you guys think? Let's see, what greeting could I use? I could use the lovely words, much love. That would be really pretty there. You think this flower on the blue? I'll try it. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe. I'm looking at all these little bits and pieces here of other things that I could put on the blue. I might do another butterfly on the blue. All right, I'm going to go back and put this here just because I feel like that little bit of yellow that's coming out of here lends itself well to this. It's really hard to see too, I think, in this in this light. So once I take a picture of it, I think you'll be able to see that it really does pop out well together. Okay, so let's see. Maybe another one of these greetings. You are my sunshine. That flower looks very much like a big sunshine, doesn't it? I think I'll do that. Could also do you mean the world to me. Oh, I kind of like that. You know why? Because if I put that there, see how it kind of like has a little bit of an emptiness there? I can push that leaf up into there and it'll make it look like we meant to do that. Okay. And there are plenty of people that I could send You Mean the World to Me to. All right, so I'm going to put this aside for a second and this aside. You guys, I am really flying by the seat of my pants here. I have no clue what I'm doing, but I like the way it's coming out. All right, so ovals, you have to be a little bit more straight than circles because you can't just turn the oval. So that looks pretty straight. You Mean the World to Me. I love this All About You stamp set. I know a ton of you have been getting this one because I've been using it a lot. So I like to keep reusing them so it gives you more ideas for them since you already have them or you're getting them, they're coming. And just so that everybody knows as far as shipping, if you've ordered with us for the first time during a global pandemic, we are usually not this slow in shipping. We have a fantastic team that ships very, very quickly. But you're stuck with the Tom and Gina team, and we are not very quick. We usually have, well, we have a staff of about 20, and we usually have quite a few people making products because, you know, we have to assemble all of our product in our where we have people packing, and you are stuck with just Tom and I doing all of that. We do have Rena coming in to help us once in a while when she can. And she was pretty funny the other day. She was helping us and she was riding around on a scooter to try to get picking faster. So everybody was quarantined for a long time. And then we decided that they were quarantined long enough. They didn't go anywhere for a really long time. And that it would work out for them to come and help. Okay, so I still think this needs to maybe be more like that. Okay, so that's what it's going to be. And I'm going to tuck this one up a little more. That's what it's going to be. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. You know, any of these combinations would work though, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be this combination. You could put these flowers and these leaves on any of them and it would look good. Flowers always look good. Okay. So I can't do this tip, but I do it when I'm not, my sweater is fuzzy, has fuzzies. When I'm not using my phone as a camera, I will actually lay it all out and take a picture of it, and then I will look at it on my phone while I'm putting it together again. Let me see here. I really liked it up higher, but I don't want it to get in the way. Okay, we'll leave it there. And then this will go here, and this will go here. There we go. Okay. I could pop this flower up. Yeah, let's do that. We'll pop the flower up. I'll get some foam tape because I don't know where my foam squares went to. I know they're on here, on this desk somewhere. I just don't know where. And that can get removed with my mono sand eraser. There we go. Okay, so a little foam tape on the back of this, just to pop it up a little bit. You don't need a lot. I like this foam tape because it's nice and thin, so it's great with strip sentiments, and it's also not too high up. Because if you do something that's too high up, sometimes it just looks, I don't know, it's too lofty, and I like it to be a little bit flatter. But if you want it higher up, you can just double it up. All right, I like it. Should I go off the oval a little bit like that? Okay, so there's the second card. Whew, boy. Okay, so now we have two. I'll show you if you just joined us. Here's the two we've made so far. And this is really fun because I am just picking this stuff out of my little box. Okay, so this stamp set, I'll tell you where all these came from. All right, so this butterfly comes from the Elegant Asters stamp set. This flower comes from the Elegant Asters stamp set too. And these leaves come from the Pop Art Flowers. So these are layering stamps, the Pop Art Flowers. This is just a line art image that I did emboss resist on. And then this is just plain stamped in black. But you can see, I mean, that's kind of the fun of making so many little bits and pieces, is you might never think to mix and match a layered leaf with a line art flower. But when you've got this whole box of mess and you just play with it, it's amazing how nice that stuff really looks. Okay, so those are the two. Let's do this one because this one's really pretty. And I feel like this butterfly definitely needs to be in the mix again. Now we could do a bigger circle this time. And we could have the butterfly kind of like flying in on an angle like that. That would be pretty too. And then we could use maybe, I don't know what I would do without you, or you're such a wonderful person. The world is better. I think you're such a wonderful person. That would be really good for a first responder. That would actually be good for my UPS guy because he was so wonderful. So he delivered something to me today and he put it on the grass instead of on the step. And I saw him pull up and let me see. I want to see one more thing here. A happy hello. That'd be pretty too, but I think it might be a little plain. I don't know what I'd do without you. Boy, that'd be for the UPS guy. I could do that and add some sequins. I think I'm going to do that. I don't know that I'd give this one to the UPS guy, though. It might be a little frilly for him. But he delivered my package and he put it in the grass. And I think he put it in the grass because he thought it would be like safer. He kind of tucked it into the grass. And then I looked out the window and I saw him and I went, oh, my package is here. So I went out to get it and it was pouring rain. So I opened the door and I saw that it was pouring rain. And I thought, oh, no, I'm going to grab my coat with my hood and put my hood up. And I went to go get my coat. And when I came back, he was standing at the door holding it. And I said, oh, gosh, you didn't have to come all the way back. He had a mask. He had gloves. But it was really nice. He saw me and he thought, oh, I'm going to go get it for her. She's coming to get it. So I really should leave a card for him. I was thinking about maybe leaving a card and a mask and maybe a little hand sanitizer, a little trial size hand sanitizer. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I don't know what I'd do without you. Talk, talk. Ooh, I have to get to my quote soon. Okay. So I'm going to take that off, and I did have a black circle somewhere. That is just leftover marking from the tape. I might even try to do something with that peach one later. But I love the simplicity of these cards. You really don't need to do a whole lot because the background is so interesting. All right. Put that right there in the center. And then maybe have the butterfly coming off. And we could add a couple sequins onto this one. There we go. Okay, so I'll tape that down real fast. I'll make sure that there's room. It's a little high up, but I think that's okay. Does that look good, or should I move the circle over? I don't know if the circle looked weird moved over. Maybe I'll just leave it like that because the circle is centered. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it like that. Nobody should judge your centering. I'm going to move it over this way a little bit. And then I will add a couple little sequins. Let me get my Connect glue and we'll do some disco ball here. There we go. And then I have to find my sequin picker. Oh, I think I put it away. I actually tried to clean up. And that's never a good idea because then I can never find anything. Let me start this glue up here a little bit. Okay, I'll put one here, one here, one up here. And then I'm using the Marvy jewel picker. And somebody was asking in our group which side you glue down when it comes to the sequins. And of course, that is totally optional, whichever side you like to glue down better. But I like to glue the flat part onto the back and then have the little cup, like the little edges of the cup, so that if you could pour something into it, the edges would hold the liquid, if that makes sense. So kind of like a bowl. But these are pretty flat sequins, so you really kind of have to look at them to see which side is the right side. There we go. Yeah, sequins never disappoint, do they? It's just pretty. I like that. All right. So now, oh boy, there's a lot of comments. I'm going to have to check out what you guys said, and always try to address some of the questions in the next video. But if I don't get to your question, which is kind of hard because there are a lot of them to go through them all, but I do look through your comments. But if there is a question and you need an answer quick, make sure you ask it in our Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends Facebook group. You are welcome there. We would love to have you. It's a fun group. Oh, I didn't do any cards sideways. So we'll just see if I can fit them all in here like this. There we go. It's almost in. So you can see them all. There we go. So those are the 3 cards for tonight using this wax paper background technique with stencils. Yeah, so ask your questions. Come join our group. It's a really fun group. It's a private group. It's safe, and we have some super supportive people in that group. We would love to have you over there. It's called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. All right, so I'm back. Whew, my hair's all sticking out. That was quite a little project there, but that was so fun. I'll take pictures of these and I'll be posting them in the Facebook group, so make sure you check them out later. You'll be able to see them up close, and you'll be able to see all the really, really pretty detail that might be lost in the live video. All right, so theme tonight, for those of you who just joined us, the theme was control. And my final comment for the night is, when you try to control everything, you enjoy nothing. Just focus on yourself. Do the things you do with as much integrity and as much love as possible, and you'll be happy. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I love you all. I will be back on Friday for Flashback Friday. We're going to have some fun using a stamp set from the past, and I will see you all again real soon. Thank you. Have a great night. Love you.